Hello again YouTube, and welcome back to Just Get a Tesla. And if you don't like Tesla, and if you don't like EVs, and you keep telling everybody how they're a bad idea, this is the video for you, because my Tesla has a design flaw. I'm actually parked just across the road from the Tesla service centre where my car is going to be for the next couple of days, and I'm trying to hide from the wind so I can actually record this so that you can hear me. On the bright side, it's not sheet ice as it's been for most of the last week up here at the North Pole. Anyway, let's talk about the design flaw. All Teslas have a power tailgate. Well, Model Ys do. Anyway, mine started not latching properly. So it's just gone down, it's on clonk, and then that's the latch, the electronic latch on the boot. Mine wasn't doing it properly, and there's a little bit of a slight odd panel mismatch there, and that doesn't look right. Anyway, so I called the mobile service guys out and asked them to come and have a look at it. And they very quickly diagnosed the fact that, oh, you've got the version 2 hinge. We need to replace that with the version 3 hinge. You what? So, this is the big hinge, right? Can you see me? Yes. This is the hinge, and there's obviously 2 of them because it's one on either side. And you've got 2 bolts that go into the body of the car. There's another 2 bolts there that go into the actual tailgate. And then there is a little grub screw, if you can see in the middle. Yeah. That basically just pins it onto the body shell. That's a V2 hinge, and apparently it isn't fit for purpose. There was a V1 which didn't even have the little grub screw in the middle, and that's definitely not fit for purpose. This V2 one, the hinge isn't strong enough to hold the weight of the tailgate, and it bends. And that's what happened to my car. Basically, I have got, you can't see it, but apparently it's true, I have got a bent hinge. Misses. So, I'm about to go into Tesla service, and they are going to replace these V2 hinges for V3 hinges. Now, of course, it is covered under warranty. And unlike some other manufacturers, they're not arguing about it. They're not trying to say, oh, they all do that, sir. They're not trying to say, what's the problem, sir? They're replacing it quickly, without a fuss. And that's much better than I had from BMW or from Volvo, or when my Volkswagen Golf had the windows suddenly drop into the door because they'd replaced the metal clips with plastic clips. And they said, what's wrong with that? It's perfectly fine that the window dropped into the door. Stop complaining. Tesla know when they've got it wrong, and oh boy, have they got it wrong in this case. And the reason why it's got to go for 2 days is, well, this is quite heavy. So what apparently they've got to have is an army of technicians to physically hold this up while somebody else unbolts the hinge to pull it off and replace another one. It sounds a bit dangerous. I'm almost regretful that I can't have the cameras running while they're doing it, because it does kind of sound interesting. Anyway, I have at least got a loaner car coming, so Tesla is literally just across the road over there. I've got a loaner car for 2 days. I need to go across and park this up. Love that red. Really do love that red. And the taillights are quite swish as well. What do we think about dropping the logo just for the name though? Okay, that took all of 5 minutes and I got a loaner key card. They got a nice refreshed Model 3 sat in there, which is nice. So I am also in a 3 because I asked them for anything other than a Model Y. Basically, let's have a little bit of comparison going on, shall we? So we have got this for the next couple of days, which by the look of it is, wow, is that chrome? This is old now. This is old, so I'm expecting that this is probably going to have a non-powered boot, so swipe the key on there to get it going. Come on. Yeah, that is the correct car. The registration plate on the key card was wrong. And the key card didn't open the car anyway, so they've gone to get me a new one. I'm currently sat in the back of my loaner Tesla Model 3 as my Model Y, as you saw, has been dropped off. Entertainingly, it's been done very, very, very quickly. So it was actually booked for 2 days. So drop off Thursday morning, pick up Friday late afternoon. And it had been there for 3 hours, literally 3 hours, when the app pinged me and said, it's ready to be collected. I was like, huh? So I sent them a message and they said, yep, it's all done. We've done it very quickly. There was less work on than we thought, so it's done. Feel free to bring the loaner back. And I'm like, nope, can't bring the loaner back today. It'll have to be tomorrow. Again, that's not a problem. You've got 24 hours apparently to return the loaner to them, which is quite generous. So it's already done. And here's the thing, right? And we have to kind of talk about this, because I kind of clickbaited a little bit at the beginning and said, Tesla haters, you'll love this video. But here's the point. All cars, most cars, have bits of design where they have basically cut corners and whatever else. I'm trying to think how many recalls over the years, but on a significant number of cars that I've owned, certainly the ones that I own from new or nearly new, there's been some kind of recall where basically the manufacturer says, you know what, we've got an issue, we need you to bring it back in, and basically we're going to take it off you and we're going to do this thing. So the last recall I had was on the Mitsubishi Outlander PHEV, the second one I had, the silver one, where the emergency braking system had a glitch. Basically the sensor that they had fitted would overreact and would create literally panic braking. I know they call it phantom braking in Tesla, but I don't really get phantom braking, so I can't talk about it in huge detail because it doesn't really happen to me. In the Mitsubishi, oh my god, that thing was absolutely slamming the brakes on almost at random. So that had a product recall. They pulled in all of the cars that had that system and they had to fix them, and you had to wait your turn. And in my case, I was waiting for quite a while until I was able to get an appointment to go in and do the work. And while you're waiting, obviously the car is still doing the same thing. So recalls, unfortunately, are part of life with a car. In this case, they haven't done a recall on the hinge because the version 2 hinge that I had doesn't always fail, but it could fail. When I said I've got a problem, it has been replaced not only very, very quickly on the day, but it was booked in literally within a week with no quibbles about a loan car. In fact, a choice of loan cars. And that is the kind of service that, frankly, you don't get from other brands. The mobile technician came here to my house to look at the fault, to assess it, to say, I'm going to need to get the hinges replaced. I need to book you in. We booked it before he'd left. And then in I go. You tell me in BMW or Audi or Mercedes or whatever else where you get that level of service. You tell me where they will come to you to assess the thing, and then they will say, no quibbles, we'll get the thing sorted, and it literally goes in very quickly. Because I've had BMWs, I had Volvo. Most of the time, it's a battle with the main dealers, a battle, rather than it being a service. You have to fight them to get to accept that something is wrong at all. Oh, it always does that, sir. That's just normal, sir. Please go away, sir. And then when you push a little bit harder, they might do it. But then, as I had with Volvo, they're arguing with the manufacturer about who's paying for it, because it might be under warranty. So that means I'm not paying for it, but somebody is paying for it. And in this case, it was an argument between Stoneacre Volvo and Volvo UK about who was picking up the tab. And that went on and on and on because my stop-start system kept failing and kept tripping other things out as well. And there were several points of you go in and you're basically sat waiting, and then they're like, yeah, sorry, we've not actually been authorized to do the work. Can you come back tomorrow?
or next week. And I used to get this quite a bit. And they weren't even the worst. The very worst dealership experience that I ever had was with Evans Helshaw with Nissan. And yes, it was Hell, not Halshaw. It's a misspelling and a mispronunciation. It's Helshaw. And they basically, you've got a piece of paper from Nissan that says X, and they try and say, no, it's Y. And you've got a piece of paper from Nissan that says the dealership will do this, and the dealership says, oh no, we won't. And I actually had to get somebody from Nissan UK involved to shout at Evans Halshaw to actually give them a rocket up the bum to do the things that they were contractually bound to do. That's my experience of buying cars where you're having to go to the main dealers. A whole load of people are watching this probably thinking, you know what, this is why I've still got my 10, 15, 20, 25-year-old, whatever it is, car. And you know what, guys, if you've got one of those and you're happy, fantastic, right? Genuinely, I'm pleased for you. I've got a 2009 Hyundai i30 sat over there. It's our spare car. If we both need to go somewhere, because there are 2 adults in the family, we've got another car if this one isn't here. Or if we need a car to dump at the airport, that's the one that goes rather than a nice car. So I don't have a problem with older cars. But we can't all drive older cars, because then who would be buying the new cars, which then become old cars? Think about it, guys. What you're saying can't possibly be done for everybody while you're trying to lecture those of us who've got a new car and an EV about the fact that what we're doing doesn't work for everybody. Well, we know that. We're not saying it will. But what you're doing doesn't work for everybody either. So what on earth are you on about? So how do I actually feel about this? Well, when he said that the hinge had bent slightly and needed replacing, I was like, huh? And then when he said, oh yeah, that's the V2 hinge and we've already replaced it with a V3 hinge, you go, hang on, there was one before this. So it's iterative manufacturing changes, okay? I'm sat in a Model 3, a 2020 Model 3, and look at the dash. It's got an old console, right? That is not what's in the current cars. It has evolved. This has got a manual boot, so you press open and it just pops a little bit, and then you have to physically open the thing up. It hasn't got a heated steering wheel. It's got a few other things that if you bought one of these now, you would get. So Tesla make constant iterative changes to their cars. The hinge that they fitted turns out not to be strong enough to be able to hold the boot up in all applications. It probably doesn't help that Tesla have got this thing called a light show where the boot lid is going up and down, up and down, up and down. That probably doesn't help. Okay, I am back at Tesla, having picked my car back up. So, first thing to note, that's better than it was. Let's have a look around the other side. That's definitely better than it was. As is that, so I can tell that they have pulled the thing off. So, hinges. You know what? They said about V2 and V3 hinges. These, hang on, they don't look any different to the ones that I had. Oh, actually, hang on. There's a notch there that I don't remember seeing on the previous one. There's a kind of a notch, so maybe that's how they're different. They're also clean, unlike everything else that's around it. So I can tell they've been done because I can actually see the metal work where it's been done in, and those bolts are shiny and new. So V2 versus V3, I'm not entirely sure what the difference is on the hinge, but it goes down and shuts now properly, and that's definitely better than it was. Good. So let's just hop back in for a second and wrap this up. What do I think? Well, I've got to close the door because it's cold. What do I think? You know what? It's not the first time that I've had a car that's had a recall and they've needed to do something to it. It really isn't the first time. So I know there'll be a load of haters going, ah, ha, 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 ha. But the point is, are they really trying to say that cars have never been issued with parts that aren't actually fit for purpose, and then the manufacturer has to recall them to change them? Are they? Is that really what you're saying? Because we both know it's a lie. So why are you doing it? the point is, on this one, we discovered there was an issue. They came and agreed that it was an issue very quickly at my house. And then they booked me back in without any quibbles to come and have the thing changed. And they gave me Lethal Weapon, which is sat over there, the 70 plate white Model 3, which was a whole load of fun. So from my perspective, this has been absolutely fine. Bravo. And on that happy note, we'll leave it there. So thanks very much for watching. Like, subscribe, hit the bell icon, you know, all of that kind of stuff. And I'll see you back here in the newly fixed, once again, Model Y long range on Just Get a Tesla.